Let's start with the courts. Now, the Attorney General, Gloria Kufu, has justified government's push to have the GFA dissolved as she convinced an Accra High Court to place a 10-day injunction on the association. The order of the courts, therefore, bars the GFA and its officials from carrying out all official duties such as the organization of football matches, selling of the association's assets, appointment and election of officials, and other official duties. The ruling of the court follows an application for a restraining order on the GFA whilst legal processes are being taken to liquidate the association. It comes after a documentary showing officials of the GFA, including President Kwesi Nyantakyi, allegedly receiving cash gifts. JoyNews' Joseph Akable was in court. Here is his report.
In an address that lasted well over an hour, Attorney General Gloria Kufu canvassed points to support her position that officials of the GFA should be restrained from holding themselves as such. She made references to the 2014 Commission of Inquiry report, to the expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimia Anas. The GFA in its current structure has simply become unfit for purpose, calling on the court to grant her request. She said it is clear that the FA is being used to serve personal purposes of its leaders and not for the sake of the FA itself, as in improving upon sport and developing the game as a whole. In engaging the press after court proceedings, the Attorney General explained that the ultimate aim of government is to have the GFA dissolved.
It is the view of government that the GFA, as constituted presently, is not performing the objects for which it was incorporated. And from the Anas video, clearly it's being used as a vehicle for illegality. And the government cannot sit back, and therefore the Attorney General as the protector of the public interest. Because remember, government puts in a lot of support, be it financial or logistic. So we cannot spend even 1 second. And significantly, if you go back to the JFA Commission report, it's a clear indication that these things have been going on for far too long. And in fact, when you look at the video, the perpetrators themselves testify to the fact that it is normal, that is the modus. So it was felt that we have to urgently arrest the situation pending the determination of the petition.
It is public knowledge that a 7-member committee has been set up by some individuals who belong to the association with the aim of engaging government to try and talk government out of the possibility of dissolving the association once they've already started the legal processes. The AG says even though she's not aware, they are willing to engage them.
As justice, as a person who should be promoting justice, I will not refuse to hear them. But that should not change the process we have started. I have not received, you are telling me for the first time, I do not know about this intended meeting, but anybody, as a public servant, anybody who seeks to me, as much as it's practicable, I will see. As to the outcomes, I cannot predict. I can only say categorically that we will go on with this petition.
AG Gloria Kufu wants the clubs who have been affected by her push for the injunction to remain patient as they sanitize the association.
Not only the players, those of us who watch also want to watch. But we can't pretend we are running a good FA with all these things that are going on.
With the interim order granted by the court, the substantive petition is still before it. That petition was filed by the Attorney General Gloria Kufu herself, asking that the court initiates the process of dissolving the office, the association, that is the Ghana Football Association, by appointing the Registrar General as the official liquidator. That petition will be decided by the court later on. So that petition, as it stands, is currently before the court. Reporting for JoyNews on the Law Court Complex, my name is Joseph Akable.
Joseph Akable filed that report. It's been eventful for the Attorney General. So has it been for Joseph Akable, who's been following it. He joins me now in the studio to tell us, give us a picture of what happened in the courtroom. Was the GFA represented? Why not? Joseph, You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a while since we had you here.
Long time.
Take us through, give us a mental picture of what happened in the courtroom itself.
So first, the application is an ex parte application. The lawyers explained that it's an application where the individual who the matter is concerned or is concerned with the matter does not necessarily have to make it in court. So in fact, you're not even notified that I filed a case against you. I file it, I go on my own, I argue if the court agrees with me, they grant me whatever order they want to grant. So that is the nature of the application the Attorney General took to court. So she went on her own and she presented a case and argued as to why she thinks the court should agree with her.
Okay, give us an idea of how the interaction went. It looked to me like something that, like a one-sided scenario I'm looking at here. Were there any counter reactions?
They don't exist. I mean, once it's...
They don't exist,
yes.
But the judge, doesn't the judge, have that discretion to come in? So, because you need to question the other side. You can't just assume that all they're saying is right.
Yes, that is why the explanation they gave is due to the nature of the ex parte motion. And so, ordinarily, when you file a case against an individual, the person has about 14 days to respond to it. But the ex parte is allowed as a leeway so that in the event you want to block someone from doing something, yet if you file the normal process within 14 days, that person may have done it long ago. So one instance she pointed out was to the effect that some officials wanted to travel to Russia to watch the World Cup in the name of the Football Association. So in order to prevent those individuals from performing any role in the name of the association, it was important that she comes to court through an ex parte motion to block them from doing so. So
in making her point and pushing her argument through, she made some quite interesting comments or commentary, which Joseph Akable help us go through it. Now this is one of them that we've put up there. We're looking at 10 quotes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through this. The GFA, she says, has become an obscene emblem of scandal, corruption and illegal enterprise. It was for this reason that the 2014 President Mahama set up the Commission of Inquiry following the World Cup. She says that the GFA has now become an instrument for self-aggrandizement by people who run it to make themselves
rich. That should be rich.
Rich. So that's supposed to be rich. The video shows, like she's saying, how low the GFA has sunk and cannot legally continue to exist. What is going on at the GFA, she says, is not limited to subscribers and directors. GFA has lost its image. So she stands on points like these to convince the judge that there was a need to place an injunction on the GFA.
Yes, in fact, she says from the commission, the Jamape Commission, its findings have again been confirmed by the investigative journalist Anas Aremi Anas. In fact, it says some of those who were captured on tape kept saying that this is something that we do normally. So she says since 2014, a commission of inquiry was set up, a report was issued. The same thing that they found out, it again has been established by this investigative report. So why do you want to keep that structure operating? It's simply impossible. We need to destroy it completely by liquidating the GFA.
Okay, well, let's run through quickly the rest of the quotes. She says that immediately you mentioned Ghana, I believe she is GFA.
So she says that immediately you mentioned Ghana, people know it's the country where Black Stars are from.
Okay.
And the image has been brought into disrepute now. So she was talking about how when you travel outside Ghana, you say you are from Ghana, people don't even know the country sometimes. But when you say
they know Black Stars,
they know that, oh, so you are from the country where the Black Stars are from.
And perhaps the closest to the Black Stars is the GFA.
Exactly. So she says you can't separate Ghana from the Black Stars and the GFA as a whole.
I'm hoping to get to the point where she speaks about how the implications are going to be as far as the FIFA, because FIFA rules that bar interference of government, etc. But let's go on and we'll finish soon. It says immediately you mention Ghana, people know it's a country where Black Stars are from. This image has been brought into disrepute. She goes on to say that they go as far as fixing matches, important matches such as that of Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, forgetting what happened on May 9. So you see the May 9 arguments being made there, and you also see how close GFA is to the name Ghana and Black Stars, and how she says it's been brought into disrepute. She goes on to say that GFA has undermined its existence, and therefore, in the interest of protecting the national interest, we say the Attorney General owes the duty to take urgent measures to stop this. Now, despite all these rogue people,
Yes, rogue
okay,
people.
still want to represent
the FA.
So it's basically saying that despite all of these activities, they still want to represent.
Yes, individuals who are not clean, individuals who are rogue people, engage in all forms of crime, they want to still go ahead.
But it wasn't everybody on the tape that works for the GFA, especially not everybody took the money, and not all of them are in the video.
The argument is that the structure of the FA itself, so from the top hierarchy, you have the president himself named in it.
No.
You have the executive committee members, that is the highest decision-making body. The emergency committee of the Football Association that should act if an executive committee is not functional, they are also named in it. Then you now move to the football people proper. So you are talking about the referees, appointment committees, the referees, and among others. So he says that in simple terms, the entire structure needs to collapse. She makes the point that since GFA was incorporated as a company in 2005, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi has been the president ever since. She says he doesn't allow anyone to contest him, or no one has been able to contest him successfully. She goes on to say that he actually has powers to the extent of even firing his own vice president, as he did recently, and that is why, as it stands now, the GFA does not even have a leader.
Right. Because the president, Kwesi Nyantakyi himself, has resigned, but before he resigned, he has sacked the vice president. Let's finish with the 10 quote. I don't know where we are at the moment, but let's finish it up. Now, the longer the FA is allowed to exist, she says, the lower we sink. At the end of the day, if they are not stopped, there is no way the public interest will be redeemed. The GFA will lose nothing. So the point she's making there is that is the image of the country, the people of Ghana, that tends to suffer, because the GFA really wouldn't lose anything apart from perhaps people losing their positions while resigning and stuff like that. A refusal of this application, which she sends to court today, she says, will lead to greater hardship for the state. Does she give any further explanation to that?
So it has to do with the image that she's talking about, and the fact that it's the funds of the state that is used to manage the Football Association. In fact, she stated in clear terms that Ghana as a country is the highest person in terms of the finances of the football, especially the national teams. And this is a case that the name of the country has been brought into disrepute. So it was important that for whatever activity that they proceed to engage in, the court must step in to block them from engaging in that activity. When we engage there, she stated in clear terms that the ultimate goal is to ensure that they dissolve the Ghana Football Association. Dissolve
the Ghana Football Association. Was the judge, I mean, he's granted the injunction, but could you tell from his demeanor or from the things he said that he was convinced way beyond reasonable doubt?
Beyond, I must say. In fact, throughout the AG's presentation for about an hour and a half, when she stood up to introduce her deputies, when she finished and started speaking, there was no interference from the judge. She spoke for about an hour and 20 minutes. When she finished that, she took her seat. The very first sentence from the judge, the application is granted.
Oh, wow.
So it was clearly a case of talking and agreeing. At no point did he interject at all. So once he said it was granted, he only informed them that as they may be aware by law, they have 10 days so they can bring the application proper on notice. That is the petition, in which case the officials of the GFA will come and respond to it as to whether the association should be liquidated or not.
So that will be the next phase from here. Joseph, thank you so much for that update, and thank you so much for that explanation there. Joseph Akable has been in court for us. Was there anything else in court, by the way?
The issue about Major Mahama.
Right.
Yes, it came up. You recall earlier when this story broke, we had heard that there was a snail seller who was the first person who had identified that the soldier was carrying a pistol and prompted the assemblyman, which led to the whole mob attacking him. She is testifying on behalf of the state. So she has been narrating to the court how the gentleman came over and asked her for directions to Dentroboase town. And she explained to him the distance. She then went a step further to the gentleman asked her that how much does the snail cost. So she mentioned the price. He didn't buy the snail and decided to walk away. So it was while he was walking away that she said she saw the pistol, and she placed the call to the assemblyman, informing him that this is what she had noticed. So she prompted the police people, because it was that town that the gentleman had asked directions to that he was heading to. So that was, in short, her summary to the court, and she's currently being cross-examined by the defense lawyers.
As we speak?
Yes.
All right. I'm sure that we'll get details of that as it goes. But Joseph, thanks once again. Away from GFA and everything that has to do with the GFA, the country's image, well, we know that the Attorney General has secured that 10-day injunction. We'll see how it goes or how we move on from there. In the meantime, information available indicates to us that, well, there may be some sort of interim federation to take care of football activities or of the Football Association's activities. It's quite sketchy. We'll get you more on that as we go along. Well, let's turn our attention to the Convention People's Party. Well, they're saying that they're targeting more youth to join the party. Speaking at the launch of the party's 69th anniversary, Chairman Dr. Edmond Dele said as future leaders, the youth should be educated on the tenet on which the nation was built, something that only the CPP, he says, can do. Dr. Dele also believes that the canker of corruption can be raised if the CPP is voted into power in 2020.